Hey everybody, I am doing a quick video today about some knives. Um, I don't see too many videos out there of women talking about different knives that they have and what they use them for and what they like and what they don't like. So I wanted to take a minute to show you some of the knives that I have and for some of the different reasons or why I might have some of them. My preference are Scandinavian-based knives. But the first one I'm going to show you is not. It's a bushcrafting knife called a Blackbird, and it is something that you could put like on a backpack. It's got all that webbing, whatever, so you can do different configurations with it. It is a heavier knife, right? It is not something that is particular. It's not a paring knife. A lot of women, I think, and this is who I'm making this video for, okay, is for other women, not for guys who are gonna, look at this and, be critical about whatever choices I have for whatever reasons, right? Is that women, we oftentimes need to have knives and we don't use knives and we don't deal with knives very often. And so this is one that can be used out in the woods and is used out in the woods for cutting things that would be thicker, bulkier, heavier pieces of wood. You can kind of, I don't do this, but you could actually use something to, a softer item to chop with this. This is what these kinds of knives are made for. They're made for heavier, dutier types of work. If you needed to use it as self-defense or something, like anything could be obviously used for that. But that is what I would call more like a bushcrafting knife, where if you needed to get sticks or do things and build and make and do whatever, shave pieces of wood to make a spear or something like that, these are the kinds of knives. In case anybody is, any ladies are like, oh, well, I want a little tiny petite knife or something like that. Well, there's reasons for having a bigger knife, and that would be one. Now, as far as what I was saying before about Scandinavian knives, this was the very first knife that I was introduced to. This is a Mora, M-O-R-A. And this is a leather sheath, but inside of it, there's a plastic sheath. And years ago, when I first got this knife, the handle was red, and my husband, because we didn't want red, sanded it, got rid of all the red, and then he stained it. But this knife has been used, and it looks actually kind of dirty. Yes, it is. This knife has been used for various things in my garden and dealing with processing of animals. Okay, so it's a good, the grip is actually extremely comfortable. There are no finger guards. I don't think none of my knives have finger guards. So you have to be a little bit, careful with how you grab them and being aware. But it's like a large paring knife. It has somewhat of a thinner blade, okay? But it's not so thin or so petite that it's gonna, bend kind of thing. I don't have a way to measure, but 4 inches maybe is what I'm guessing the blade is. And they're sharp. They're wicked, wicked sharp. All the Scandi knives are very, very sharp. So, dealing with a smaller thing that you're cutting, like if you're going to be doing any kind of processing of animals and stuff like that, this is a good handy knife to have. It's comfortable. The wood gives you a grip. It's a good length. It's thin enough, yet not being too thin. So all the other ones that I have are Hella knives. Hella, okay? And the first one that I got was sort of a replacement for a neck knife that I've used. It's this one. It's the Algonquin. Again, it's smaller. It doesn't fit my hand it fits my hand, okay? But like it fits my hand fully. As far as the Mora, I had more wood exposed, and the blade is significantly smaller, okay? I would say It is slightly more stout. The blade is slightly more stout, so you could probably do more rough things with it if you wanted to. You could do whittling, you could do other things maybe if you needed to. This would also be a really good knife, again, for processing of animals or whatever, like if you need to get in, because it's kind of small. But again, no finger guards. You got to be very, very careful with it. I favor natural handles. This is just me, because I feel like I get better grips from it, even though like I know that Blackbird has got a textured grip or whatever to it, but I like the feel of wood, and I don't particularly care for plastic. That's just sort of my thing. So that is the Algonquin. The next one is a beautiful knife. It's, again, it's a Hella. It's the ARV, A-R-V. This is a natural knife as well. The sheath, or I'm sorry, the handle, it's wood and the black is leather, but this white is actually reindeer antler. It's one of those. It's like a pretty knife, right? And don't let guys tell you that they don't do this with some of their things too, is that they do things for pretty, but it's still wicked sharp. It is probably for the spine of it is about as thick as the Algonquin was, but it's obviously longer. It is probably more comparable in length to the Mora, but it's heavier. It's definitely a heavier knife. So depending upon, and it's more comparable as well as far as the handle. So, just depending upon what you're looking to do, very sharp. Another one that would work well with dealing with any kind of processing or cutting of meats or anything like that. Or just want to have something that looks nice. Last one that I have is, this one was my most recent birthday present. I was actually looking for the Laplander, which is a very long knife, because it is specifically, I would call it like a kitchen knife, because it is so long, and it's a thinner blade, and it's really for slicing. Couldn't get it, sold out, or supply chain issues like everything and everywhere. So the other one that I eventually wanted was this one, which is the Viking. This is, again, a Hella knife, much heavier knife, bigger knife, bigger handle, although not much bigger, but the much more beefy, much more robust. This would be something that would probably be more comparable to my Blackbird, although that one is obviously much bigger, much more robust. But this would be something that I could use, on wood and other, digging in dirt or something like that if I needed to. More of a, I don't want to call it a survival knife, but more all around purpose type stuff. That Laplander, if I ever get it, will be probably actually relegated into my kitchen, or possibly out when we do processing and stuff. The handle doesn't look like much. I mean, it looks almost kind of square, but it's ever so slightly tapered, and it's very comfortable. This is actually, next to my Mora, this is actually the most comfortable handle that I have. And it feels good, no finger guards, but having these kinds of knives in your disposal, you can put it on your belt. Some of the smaller ones, you could use it as a neck knife if you wanted to. Mora makes other knives that are more modern with plastic and stuff, but having a knife and having several different kinds of knives is always a really nice thing for ladies to have. Don't shy away from them. Learn how to use them, learn how to handle them, learn how to sharpen them with a stone and doing it properly, because having a sharp knife is a really wonderful tool. Even if you're just in the kitchen, and trying to make a salad or something, and you have a dull knife, you're going to hurt yourself. You'll hurt yourself actually faster with a dull knife than you will with a sharp knife. So anyway, those are some of the things that I have, and I hope it was helpful for you. Remember, you are the gold.